those are just some questions for you to ponder along the way. This is the Attention Management and Productivity Driven Cultures Micro Learning session. Again, feel free to scan the code, use the password to access the student manual for this course. I'll give you a minute there. This is who I am. I am Dr. Marvin Parker, and I am retired from the Air Force. I have been stationed to assigned to many bases, deployed many times. I'm the founder of MVP Training Solutions. I am also an adjunct professor with Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University. I am a student mentor at the Community College of Southern Nevada. I am also a member of your North Las Vegas Veteran Community Commission. So again, I am Dr. Parker, and welcome to the course. So the question was posed, why do veterans need leadership and management development? Well, we know that just because you're retired, you stop thinking strategically. We know that doesn't happen. We know that you have strategic vision, and you can articulate the long-term strategic goals for yourselves and or the people whom you serve or your organization. We know that you are a holistic decision maker. That doesn't stop just because you are a veteran, right? We know that veterans learn to integrate diverse perspectives when making decisions. That doesn't stop just because you are now a veteran. We know that you are culturally intelligent. You've served at many bases here stateside and probably many globally. So we know that you are you have the ability to enhance and lead in multicultural teams effectively. And we know that just because you are now retired, that you somehow become unethical in your ability to lead. We know that doesn't happen. We know that you're ethical leaders, and we know that you have the ability to navigate complex ethical dilemmas that you may face in your daily lives. But how does a course in attention management benefit you specifically? Well, we know a course in attention management can provide the support that you need transitioning from civilian life, civilian work, and personal projects. We know that you are an attention management course can reduce the level of stress that you may find as you make those transitions. And these types of courses teach the veterans how to minimize distractions, prioritize their efforts, right, and handle the mental clutter that could potentially be affecting you as a veteran. And of course, a better adaptation to civilian life. It helps by fostering discipline and managing your time and attention, ultimately allowing you as a veteran to better navigate the civilian environments. This is just a couple of reasons. We know there are quite a bit more as benefits for a course like this. This is a micro learning course. Compressed. This is a open forum facilitated discussion. So, if we're talking about attention management, it is very important to remember to do what? Silence phones, remove distractions that may be affecting your attention as we move through the course itself. Commit to learning something from the course, allow folks to speak, and avoid assumptions made by of the cohort. And again, this is a facilitated discussion, so basically my role here is going to be yapping about 25% of the time. The rest of the time I want to hear from you. Yeah. Again, facilitated discussion, micro learning session. This particular course is chapter or module 1 of a much larger course, certification course in attention management taught by us at MVP Training Solutions. These are our objectives for today. Explain the relationship, identify the negative impacts of poor attention management, and describe the benefits of attention management for your professional growth. These are going to be the topics that we cover today. And once we get through the 4 main topics there, we'll address any additional questions you might have. And then we'll talk about the micro-learning. So without trying to put a definition on what attention management is or is not, what do you think it is? What does it feel like it should be? What does it feel like it should not be?
I would just say it's just the ability to stay focused on whatever tasks or action that you're working on straight through.
Yeah, ability to stay focused.
Yeah, and also, like even though you are doing what you're supposed to be doing, the amount of detail and attention, or the amount of detail that you are providing at the time.
Yeah. Jamor, what do you think it is not?
What I think it is not is, I don't think it's wasting people's time. I don't think it's allowing noise, figuring out what's important and what's not.
Sure.
What's not important, and so, and as far as the folks that I manage, is not allowing things to distract, take away distractions for the team.
Yeah, good. Great, thank you. So we know that attention management is a skill for controlling the focus and mental effort, right? I think you kind of touched on that, right? We know that it is not multitasking and handling everything at one time, right? We know that it is a tool for improving mental clarity and reducing stress. We know that it is not just letting your mind wander. It is not, right? We know that it is training your brain to be more efficient, if you will. We know that it is not just kind of pushing through without taking any rest or any breaks or anything like that. It is absolutely not that. So, excuse me. So when we're talking about understanding the link between attention management and productivity, understanding the symbolic relationship between attention management and productivity enhances or enables the development of tailored strategies to really enhance the cognitive resource utilization and task efficiency, right? Resource utilization and task efficiency. Prioritizing focused attention over efforts is essential for maximizing productivity, emphasizing the principle of productivity followed where your attention is directed. Key point, productivity follows where attention is directed. Embracing mindfulness enhances productivity by enabling intentional attention allocation, mitigating distractions, fostering focused task execution, and emphasizing the critical role of mindfulness and in optimizing your productivity levels. Skillful attention management facilitates effective navigation of complex tasks. I'm going to say that again. Skillful attention management facilitates effective navigation of complex tasks. How does it do that? Well, because it alleviates the cognitive overload, it fosters efficient problem solving and decision making, ultimately thereby enhancing both the individual's productivity and the productivity and or successes of those you serve or the organization, teams that you may lead, right? y'all come into play. This is your 75, right? So if you look at the questions, and we won't get to all of them, but if you look at the questions here, question 1, how does attention management play a crucial role? Question 2, what are some specific strategies or practices to bridge that gap? And then 3, in your experience, can you share an example? So, 2 of you here, pick any one of the 2 you like, and just answer that question.
I think with the attention management, the first question,
First question.
I think it's important to break things down initially. Kind of evaluate their urgency and impact towards what you're doing. That way you initially know where to set your goals, and that way you already have a kind of a clear direction as far as where your attention should be going in the first place.
Yeah, that's great, breaking them down. Yeah, and putting them in those categories. Excuse me, I apologize. Kind of using some of the time management strategies.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of planning involved.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. And then, we're always thinking. Our attention is always on. And then how we prioritize, what we prioritize, is going to affect our level of effectiveness in decision making. All right, so, great, thank you. Sir?
Quite an interesting question. And the gentleman here with the planning, I kind of bridge the gap with making sure we don't overplan. And so I like productivity as in we're going to do this sprint, and we're going to run, and we're going to produce something. Over-planning, I believe if I give my team 24 hours to plan, they're going to want 36 hours. And so I keep the planning as short as possible and just continue to move.
Yeah.
And heighten productivity is to say, let's not get bogged down.
Yeah.
Let's keep things moving.
Yeah.
And so nothing bothers me more because I'm a doer. And I'm a former Marine.
Sure.
The Marine Corps planning process it takes days to
Right.
plan. Right. And so again, it's with the distractions and keeping everyone focused.
Yeah.
Understanding what the true goal and the true intentions are.
Very important.
So,
very important. Yeah.
So my experience as far as my time management goes, I work for 50 minutes. I don't overwork my team. I throw in breaks for my team.
Right.
Expectation management. They're going to run into It's like, if it happens, I expect it.
Sure.
And so,
Sure. No, come on in. Go ahead, sign in for me.
and so that's the bridging the gap and just making sure we don't overplan.
Yeah. And I'm glad you mentioned that, because there is so many times we will get bogged down with planning and get not much done, right? What's the analysis paralysis? Yeah?
Yes.
Man, we can analyze, and a week go by, we haven't done a thing, with the information that we've gained from that perspective. So, ma'am, please have a seat wherever you'd like. And if you have a phone, if you'd like to bring up the student manual, you can scan the QR code on the sign-in sheet right behind you and bring in the student manual up on your phone. Yeah. So again, and welcome. So great, thank y'all for that. So, as you touched on, how does the attention management play the role, right, in determining the overall productivity? Because it helps to prioritize tasks effectively, right? It reduces the need or the urge to multitask. It improves time management ultimately by reducing the time spent on those unimportant tasks. As you mentioned, I got to focus on these things in this quadrant, right? More than these ones over here, right? And that takes effort. that takes clearing your mind to be able to make that happen and to do those things, right? What are some specific strategies, right? Using time blocking techniques to allocate specific focus periods for the task. I think you touched on that as well. And then break tasks into smaller, manageable chunks throughout the day, right? Throughout your day. And then take the regular breaks, as we talked. Limited distractions by using the tools of website or web blockers, or that phone, those notifications on phones. Those things go on all day long. And I'm so thankful for the person, I'm gonna say person because I don't know if it's a man or a woman, who created that off ringer, that thing on the side. Oh, I love that thing, right? I love that thing because years ago, what did we used to do when we didn't want to be called by anybody? We took our phone off the hook and we set it on next to the phone, and that way nobody could disturb us, right? So limiting the distractions by using the tools like web blockers, do not disturb modes on your devices, right? So, impact on poor attention management, on employee well-being. You included, right? You included in that discussion because you may be an employee of someone else, but you may also be in charge of others, right? Poor attention management exacerbates stress levels, resulting in cognitive decline, physical manifestations of stress, and reduced job satisfaction, ultimately impeding creativity, impeding problem solving, and adaptability within your organizational roles or your team, in your team itself. We know that poor attention management can fuel feelings of ineffectiveness and frustration, damaging self-esteem and job satisfaction while fostering that kind of disengagement and diminishing motivations, ultimately perpetuating a negative cycle detrimental to your overall well-being, or the overall well-being of your employees, or the overall well-being of the success toward your organizational success, right? And then poor organization or poor attention management can also strain interpersonal relationships, compromising the depth of the interactions that you have with those closest to you, and fostering the feelings of isolation. In turn, can lead to that detachment of your employees and or yourselves and or your loved ones closest to you. So be mindful of not managing your attention. And then misunderstanding, man, I tell you, misunderstandings can result from that fragmented attention management. Misunderstanding, especially if you are in a global environment where you have teams on one end of the world and you're on another end of the world, right? From that attention allocation, it can impede collaboration and teamwork, negatively impacting the overall work environment. Be mindful of how it will affect those that are not right next to you, as well as the ones who are right next to you. Because you may not necessarily see it, but a leader's intuition will lead them to understand that maybe they misunderstood us over there in Japan. Maybe they understood what we were trying to get at in Turkey from here. Right? So just be mindful of that. So if we take a look at the questions, again, feel free to ask or feel free to answer either questions that you see up here. What are some potential consequences of poor attention management? We touched on a few. How might a workplace environment that does not address, keyword, that does not address attention management contribute to the increased stress levels of the employees? And if you have an example or in your observations, what role does attention management play in kind of fostering that sense that you're no longer happy here, right? That sense of disengagement from your team members, possibly, right? Or even your organization. So feel free to answer any of the questions you see up there for yourself. And again, if you have the manual on your phone, you can look through some of the information that's there, or just throw some answers out.
I'll just start with the second one. I think, we've all heard this word 1,000 times, and it ultimately comes up to complacency, especially most jobs, they do have usually routine functions within them. And once you kind of start to hit a wall, or you're just kind of in the process of repetition, I think you tend to, one, pay less attention to what you're doing because I think you're chalking things up to habit. So with not addressing the time management, attention management in that sense, it lends you the ability to make mistakes.
Yeah.
So I think it's important to, just address the attention management to those people, especially in very routine tasks. So if you want to make a mistake, or even better yet, just an ounce of prevention is worth two ounces of medicine.
That's right. That's right. And from that perspective, if you were the employee, on that same question, if you were the employee, how would you address the perception? We'll say it's a perception that your organization is attuned to attention management for the staff, especially if you're looking at it from your perspective. What are your thoughts on that? Just to add to your question.
I'm sorry, from the top-down approach?
For instance,
or from a bottom-up approach?
Yeah, so if you were the employee and you felt, or there was a perception in your mind that the workplace environment doesn't really address the concerns that you might have, or centered around attention management. How would you address that? How would you bring that up?
With that list that you had earlier about what attention management was, I think it'd be something that you want to make everyone cognizant of.
Yeah.
At a broader level. Just kind of have like a micro training, or just little things that they can slowly be adding on to what they normally do.
Sure.
Especially if they catch themselves.
Sure. Yeah, great, thank you. Thank you so much for that. Sir, how about you? What questions do you have? One or three?
One or three. What are some potential consequences of poor attention management for the overall work? In my organization, it caused a lack of communication, a lack of collaboration. It was kind of stovepipe. The environment was absolutely not conducive to what we wanted to do. Everyone was in different trailers, so what we had to do was make sure we had productive meetings that everyone understands the mission. Also, for hire, it was not micromanaging. It was allowing those trailers, they all did their own subject matter experts, to do their jobs and setting the conditions for them to meet the mission that we were trying to do. But if it's some poor attention management, it's going to cause friction within the organization, which is low productivity, not being mindful of someone's day, or not being mindful of someone's capabilities and limitations. You can't employ them properly to get the things. Having the right environment, it's like a professional football team. If I set the right environment, then everybody's going to be productive. They're not worried about paper. They're not worried about copying. The admin sections, everybody's supporting this thing for everyone to do their job. So I would say just something as simple as air conditioning, or something as different as folks to take breaks when they need
Mhm.
them, I said, what do you think they need?
Yeah.
I miss a lot when my attention is not on the things that I should be doing.
Right.
You know, as a senior enlisted advisor, that you have your set of problems.
Right.
And
Oh.
you have the entire organization's
That's
set of
right.
problems. And so,
Mm-hmm. That's
I'll
right.
miss things.
Yeah.
If my focus isn't correct, if my focus isn't correct. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
And sometimes those things, my most valuable assets were my people, and I was thinking it was like the end product.
Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah. Thank you for that. Yeah. Thank you for that. Because it's a real possibility that leadership can be quite tone deaf,
Yes.
right? Because ideally their attention is somewhere else. They're focused on the bottom line, where you're focused on meeting the objectives. You know, their focus is on retention, where your focus is training. So they could be tone deaf to some degree. So it's important that you address that, and you bring that up, and you make them aware of those things. Because they could just simply be missing the cue, right? They're not down on the shop floor.
And that team has, that leader or that scrum master or that agile person or that supervisor has to understand that there are different projects going on.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
my problems aren't necessarily the team's problem.
That's right, that's right, that's right, that's right. Yeah, and as we talked about earlier, collaboration, the ability to collaborate. You know, HR priorities are going to be different from the logistics and supply chain priorities.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And sometimes you have to help the other team members understand where your attention and where your focuses will be. Ma'am? So did you have any thoughts on the questions on the screen here? Can you see this?
I agree with like what he said, but I'm here to learn and just listen.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Were you able to see the manual on your phone?
Yeah, and I have a full memory, so.
You have a full memory? See, this is a great class for you. Huh? Well, good. Well, let me add my 2 cents. What are some potential consequences? Increased risk of burnout if you got a full memory. Right? Due to constant distraction and inability to complete tasks. Heightened anxiety and frustrations. Reduced job satisfaction and motivation. How might a workplace environment contribute to that increased level of stress, right? Because they lack clear focus, right? We touched on that, right? And prioritization can cause the employees to feel overworked, overloaded, right? And then undervalued. And we also know that constant interruptions from poorly managed work environments can lead to the mental fatigue that we know some of us have experienced in our careers, and stress, and a chaotic workflow. As you talked about, varying projects happening at the same time. Right? A chaotic workflow can result in conflicts, missed deadlines, performance issues, ultimately compounding the levels of stress that you may be experiencing and or your team members may be experiencing.
Overvalue and undervalue and overwork seems to be like a thing.
A theme, right?
And
Yeah.
it's, hey, I'm paying you to do a job, I really value you, but I guess it's how it's communicated as
Right, exactly right.
my team. It's like, if I didn't need you, I wouldn't have hired you.
Right.
That's why I need you here, and that's how you value someone.
Yeah.
It seems to be a continuous.
Yeah. Yeah.
constant.
Yeah, I hear you. That's a great point. That's a great point. Because as I mentioned earlier, it's a good possibility leadership missed the mark. Then they don't see what you see at that level that you're operating at.
That's the risk of, we see things from a 10,000-foot level.
That's right.
And things from a micro level, and so I guess communication, opening up and letting them see this is what would build that.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
confidence.
Absolutely.
Letting everybody know why.
Yeah.
So when we give other people know.
Right.
Instead of staying cute, I guess
Right. Because what will happen is, it won't come to their mind or won't come to their forefront until aircraft don't get off the ground, right? Until they have a whole shop that's now out with COVID and they can't get that particular mission done. You see what I'm saying? When things have fallen or collapsed is when they'll go, well, what's going on down there? Right? Whereas though, had they taken those steps previously and understood the workflow, the processes, the concerns that the team members might have, if those were their attention-focused items, they could have possibly alleviated some of those things. So, thank you for that. So when we're talking about recognizing the signs of attention deficit in the workplace, such as difficulty sustaining your focus, task switching, forgetfulness, missed deadlines, all those things are crucial to both the employers and the workers to cultivate a productive work environment. Oh, let's get forward. Yeah, sorry about that. Heightened stress levels characterized by the increased irritability and reduced emotional well-being coupled with difficulties in task comprehension and decision making can indicate attention deficit issues among the employees, potentially leading to their levels of inefficiencies or strained relationships, and ultimately hinder the collaborative efforts that you've already worked on within your workplace. And then the observable changes in behaviors, such as becoming disorganized, excessive tardiness, decreased work performance, and ultimately diminished output quality of your work going down. Alongside behaviors like requesting repeated information. What was that again? What was that again? And what did you say? And what time was that due? When do we need to have that done by? Passive participation in the meetings serve as red flags as well for attention-related challenges. Things just to be mindful of there. If we take a look at the questions, first question, when observing dynamics of workplace. Second one is, how can managers and colleagues contribute? Third one, in your experience, what strategies have you found effective? What are your thoughts on those three?